All right, Maya, it's time to talk about the Bengals. Look, when we do these videos on Sunday, talk about teams that win and make big statements. The Bengals, really early in this game when it was 17-0, I was like, yeah, we're no way we're talking about the Bengals. Well, they turned it around in a big way. They turned that 17-0 deficit into a massive 34-23 road victory over the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs were desperate for a win. They've obviously had a real tough time. They were thinking this was their chance, the Bucs were, to make a big statement win. They started strong, but the Bengals turned it around methodically, efficiently, and deliberately, and dominated the game since they were down 17-0. Huge win for the Bengals. And I know you got some thoughts on this game to talk about. But before I hand it over to you, Who Day Nation, look, comment below. Give us your MVP of this game. I know after about a quarter and a half, you're like, there's no one up for the MVP. There's definitely a lot of guys up for it now because after that moment, down 17-0, like the light turned on and the team, offense, defense, special team played lights out the rest of the way. Great win, great road win over the division-leading Bucs. Give us your MVP in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on Cincinnati and this big road win for this team.
Yeah, Nick. I mean, you could easily say Joe Burrow's the MVP or Wilson, the linebackers all over the field today, had a big sack. He's the MVP. But truly, Nick, it's the coaching staff for me because of this halftime adjustment. You go into the half 17-3, and then you hold them at 17 points defensively. No second half points until the last few seconds of the game. I would arguably call a garbage time touchdown by the Bucs. And then the offense also goes on a streak as well. How often do you see a halftime adjustment that is so strong that both sides of the ball start to dominate? So, I mean, good on the coaching staff for getting that in. But obviously, Joe Burrow had a huge game today, threw for 4 touchdowns. Not so much in the yardage department. It's very efficient, which is strange because they must have, Nick, they didn't have a huge running game as well. So they played very efficiently. So that's very, very interesting. The game turned out that way. The 2 interceptions were big. The fumble recoveries, they just played a solid defensive game in the second half. It was really, really, really strong and set up the offense to be successful is how I look at this game.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. I just want to walk through the Buccaneers' second half possessions here. So the Bucs get the football to start the third quarter. They're up 17-3 at home, all kinds of momentum. They're playing great. These are their possessions, Mines. Three and out, fake punt doesn't work. Interception. 3 plays, fumble. 3 plays, fumble. 3 plays, interception. 3 plays and punt, and then the garbage time touchdown. That's just dominant defense by the Cincinnati Bengals and special teams too, stopping the fake punt, right? So it's just, I love that from a team when things weren't going your way in the first half. You brought up the coaching. I think it's a great point. How Coach Taylor and his staff must have done a great job with a lot of key adjustments, whether personnel and strategy. I think it was a little bit of both. And the guys came out and played a great second half. And it just wasn't the defense. You look at the offense too, and you just love this, right? So they convert the botched fake punt by Tampa into a field goal. Then after the interception, the Bengals convert that for a touchdown. And then the Bucs fumble, Bengals touchdown, Bucs fumble again, Bengals touchdown. Right. The Bengals would then punt later, but then they'd get a long 13-play, 60-yard touchdown drive that killed the last 7 minutes or killed 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, basically ended the game. So the offense did its part too. You brought up being efficient, methodical. They did it without having any big performances. They didn't run the ball particularly well. Jamar Chase didn't go completely off, but Joe Burrow and company, they were efficient. They controlled the flow of the game, especially in the second half, and paired that with a dominant defense and clutch special teams. And that's a formula that's really hard for anybody to beat.
Yeah, especially when you look at stuff like Cincinnati capitalize. That's what the good teams do, Nick. Like you said, they capitalize on their opportunities. And if you look at the stat sheet just going down, they had less first downs than Tampa Bay. They weren't necessarily great on third down today, 5 of 13. They had less yards than Tampa Bay. They had less offensive plays in total than Tampa Bay. Their average gaining on the ground was less than Tampa Bay. Just I go down the list, and in every single category, Tampa Bay had more penalties. Tampa Bay had more turnovers. Those are the things that they won the good departments. I guess they had less penalties, less turnovers, and that's the key here. But as far as gaining on the ground and through the air, Tampa Bay was beating them in the yardage department, but yet Cincinnati capitalized on every single opportunity that was given to them, and I think that's what made the difference today.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I'm going to leave with you 2 stats. So beating Tom Brady in Tampa, this is the first time a Tom Brady led team has lost 8 games in a season. That's obviously monumental. The Bengals played a big part in that. Anytime you put a guy like Tom Brady in his place, in the negative side of the ballpark, that's really a good job. But I want to leave you with this this statistic here, or I'm going to leave you, I'm sorry, with the schedule here. This is why this win was so huge for the Bengals, is that they go to New England next week. Now, New England's 500 right now, but they have to go to Foxborough. Foxborough late in the year is always tough. Always hate playing there. You never know what's going to happen. And then they have the Bills and the Ravens at home. That's a tough 3-game stretch there to finish out the season. All 3 of those teams are playoff contending teams, and obviously going to Foxborough is a brutal environment. So this was huge for the Bengals to get this win over the Bucs here, because they had this big gauntlet coming down the stretch. They get their 10th win of the season. They move into all alone in first place in the AFC North. According to 538, their playoff odds have jumped out to over 99%. So it's almost a sheer guarantee with this victory. That's how big this win was, because they got a tough slate of games down the stretch. They needed this one. After a slow start, they turned it around and got it done.